What is the best piece of advice or knowledge that I've learned in my 65 years on this planet? Well, stick around till the end of this video and I'm going to tell you what that is. But first I'm going to give you an update on my colon cancer and my chemo treatment and where I'm at with that. Let's get started. Okay, so yesterday was the beginning of my third chemo treatment. It's a 3-day, more or less a 3-day process, 2.5 days. I'm going to show you what it looked like in the cancer treatment center where they nailed the nail into my chest and injected all the other stuff, and then we'll go from there.
I got it right here. Okay, so this is round 3 on the chemo. It's getting started. They got to do a blood draw first. And so this is kind of what that procedure looks like. Clean it all up.
All right, deep breath. Hold. Breathe. Oh my gosh.
Just like that.
Yeah, last time. I want to see if you can put it in.
Okay, so the blood has been drawn, and that's the device that they'll hook everything else up to. They have to wait till the blood tests come back before they can start the chemo. And that's the little hole, and all that goes on. There's like 4 bags go on there, and then they just pump it in you. Yeehaw! Okay, so we're getting hooked up to the juice here. And this is, do we go directly to juice going in, or
We're going to hang a pre-med, our anti-nausea one.
Oh.
Yeah.
So now this whole process takes about 2 hours? 4 hours?
Must be, is it? Because isn't our drugs themselves 2 hours? Yeah, 2, we'll say 3 hours. Well, with labs, 4 hours. About 4 hours if you include the lab part.
So it's, from this point here will be done in about
3.5, let's say 3.5 hours.
3.5 more hours. Wow.
3 to 3.5. Must be 3 hours.
Okay, so nothing more exciting is going to happen until
So it-
like the end of this, and you
yeah,
can.
once that's done, then we're gonna set you up and we'll hang all the chemo stuff.
We have all the chemo stuff hooked up there, and am I plugged in yet to that stuff? Yeah.
Yeah.
So the nasty juice is going in. Woo-hoo. Okay, so all of that stuff went in. I'm gonna unhook here. Okay, get a big injection of something now.
Yep. Big injection of 5FU.
Some 5FU. Kind of appropriately named, I think. And that's, we already had some 5FU going in there, and then this is just like topping it off, or
No,
what?
this is the 5FU bolus, so we push, do a push, and then we hook you up to a pump that has the 5FU.
Okay,
What you had was the oxaliplatin with the leucovorin in it.
okay. And so this is just the start of the 5FU, and then
Yeah.
the next thing that we plug in and wear home is gonna have more of this stuff
Yeah.
in it. We'll get kind of the jump start with this in there, I guess, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're
that's
getting
hooked up to that.
hooked up to the pump. So
We're just starting.
again, it's
Green means she's going. So it's about 1:30, so we'll have you back at 11:30 on Wednesday and kick it off.
okay. What did I get to carry around for?
Fancy little fanny pack.
Is it big enough? Do you have a different sizes fanny packs, or this is the biggest one of yours?
So that's what happened in the hospital. Now it's the second day. I just completed an abbreviated workout. I'm not doing bench press because I'm worried about, the bench hitting the nail in my chest, so the bar. So I don't do that, but I did my incline presses, did dips, did shoulder work, and was able to push everything to failure. Admittedly, failure comes a little bit earlier now because of this. I'm a little bit weaker than I was, but pretty close to the same. My weight has fluctuated from about 186 to 194, 195 throughout this process so far. So I've been able to kind of maintain my weight. I really have to watch it, really have to force myself to eat sometimes, because a couple things I've got to, one of the side effects is when I put something in my mouth, it's like every saliva gland in there goes off all at once, and it's very painful, but it goes away after you do it for a minute or so. And the other side effects right now that are greater than they have been, that are getting more, is my hands are very sensitive to everything. They just tingle all the time. They're kind of it's almost like an electric shock when you grab something. But that, again, after you grab whatever it is and you do it for, as long as it's not something cold, it just stays with you. But if it's just something normal, it goes away after you do it for a few minutes. So overall, side effects aren't bad. I'm also, part of the chemo is prednisone, so that's offsetting some of the side effects. Not sure what all it offsets, but haven't been nauseous this time so far. Didn't happen until the second or third day in before, so remains to be seen. But then tomorrow they'll take this out, and then another. And obviously the other thing is my voice. When they start this, I start sounding like RFK Jr. After a little while, my voice just kind of goes away. Something to do with, I don't know if it's the chemistry or the fact that it's pumping. There's a tube that runs across through my neck and down into one of my main veins into my heart, I guess. So anyhow, so all in all, it's going pretty well. Probably one of the biggest things, my white cell count, my immune system is now very much compromised. They'll continue to monitor that, and there's some things they can do to boost that in the event that it gets to such a low point that they are concerned for my safety. So I'm halfway through the treatments, 3 more to go. But there's a cancer marker, CAE, they call it, in your blood. They measure that. And initially, mine was at 5.5, which is just above we know you've got cancer stage. This time, it was all the way down to 2.6, which is pretty much in the potentially normal range. It's probably still a little high, but it's about half of what it was. So something is happening, something is working, and so a lot of optimism about that. So that's kind of the update. I get a week of hangover, and then another week of feeling pretty good, and then back in for number 4. So at the start of this video, I said, what is one of the best pieces of advice or best pieces of knowledge that I've gained in my almost 65 years on this planet? So here it is. That one piece of advice is, everything is your fault. That simple statement well, let me give you an example. If you get to the end of your life, or wherever you're at in life, if you haven't been able to travel where you wanted to go, live the life you wanted to live, have the partner that you wanted to have, that you really desire, have basically the life that you dream of, if you haven't been able to do those things, it's nobody's fault but your own. The same thing, if you turn that around, if you have been able to do all those things, you'd certainly agree that all of that happened because of you. You made the right choices, you took the right actions, you did the right things. So even when I look at my condition, my cancer treatment, it certainly is the result of something that, some decision, some exposure, something I ate, some of the job that I took that exposed me to toxic chemicals over the years. Those kinds of things are almost certainly what resulted in this. It's not a genetic thing. It is something environmental that I probably could have avoided. I shouldn't say probably, I could have avoided had I made different choices, but I didn't, so I'm stuck with it. On the other hand, the condition that I'm in physically has also been a result of my choices. And thankfully, I made those choices, because I think even the doctors, the oncologists, everything, very optimistic about my outcome because of the condition that I'm in. And, you know, we've come to a place in this country where, using cancer as an example, it used to be 1 in 5 people would develop cancer over their lifetime. It's all the way down to 1 in 3. That didn't happen because genetics changed or something else. It happened because of the choices we make, the lifestyles we live, probably the standard American diet, because these things all have happened since the 1960s. That count has gone to where it has gone. So a lot of the other health conditions that we see, a lot of the other medical conditions we see, like particularly diabetes and things like that, are absolutely caused by the choices that we make. You know, everywhere I go, I see people who are in such miserable physical condition that it really breaks my heart to look at these people and know that they're suffering, and they're suffering, and they may not be suffering from a medical condition that's immediately life-threatening like mine, but they're suffering, and just, you watch people move, you see them struggle. They're basically using momentum to get them from one place to another because they're so heavy, or have so much inflammation that their legs, their arms, everything just hurts. And they're just totally perfect examples of choices that they've made, decisions that they've taken, the pathway that they've chosen. I mean, their own choices or lack of choices have gotten them to the point that they're in, and they could make simple changes in their lives. So these aren't hard things to do, to completely change how they feel, how they move, and how long they're going to live, and how much they can engage in life while they live all those extra years. And one thing I know for sure that is, if I can work out like I am, taking my lifts to failure, even in the middle of receiving a doses of chemotherapy, even in the middle of fighting colon cancer, then kind of makes me have to say, you know, what's your excuse? What's keeping you from changing your own life, changing your own health conditions? What's stopping you? It's not all the things on the outside. It's what's in your head. It's what's in between your ears. It's the choices that you make. So once you wrap your brain around the fact that everything in your life is your fault, it is your choices, it is your decisions, and if you want a better life in any aspect of life, it's up to you. You've got to make different choices than the ones you're making that have put you where you are, because you are there because of your choices. So please, if you get nothing else out of this video, take that one home with you, stew on it, and then take some action if you want to make changes. If you got any value out of this video, please like and subscribe, and of course share it with your friends. And I really appreciate everyone watching. I really appreciate the comments, and so I'll keep them coming. Thanks.